Mr. Pop.
So what the following will be is a reading of a prologue. It's part of a project that I was working on a few months ago for an organization here in Canada. The project itself has kind of hit a little bit of a snag, or a stall, I guess, so it's kind of been shelved for a little while, but I was going through some of my work with someone that I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for, and they recommended that I go through the exercise and that I make a recording of this for all of you as an exercise for my own self. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because this isn't the kind of... That's not my creative writing that I usually post. These are more private thoughts, and sometimes they're incorporated into projects, but for the most part I publish editorialist or commentary or review. Like I said, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, but I trust this person and I trust their judgment, and so what follows next is part of that project, just a prologue, like I said, from August 11th, 2020. I'm not quite sure whether or not there's anybody that even wants to hear this sort of thing, but I'm going to put it out there for you anyway, and I'm sure that all of you will let me know how you feel. So thank you. I've spent a large part of my life in solitude and reflection. I understand that it might appear that I speak more than I listen, but I can say without shame that I know my own mind and my own self. I understand that oftentimes we do not, or perhaps cannot, perceive ourselves in the ways that others might, and so we sometimes can be, or more often than not, guilty of self-deceptions. And I'm no different than my brethren. But I say that I have spent the greater part of my life in quiet contemplation, observation, and coping. And I say that I have seen more that I should want, fear nothing that I have known from that seeing, listening, and learning, and like a sentinel, attempted to be ever ready or not. I say that I have been broken by all that I have borne by it, yet stronger still somehow, in spite of it. Indeed, the result of it. And regardless of perception or perspective, shattered steel can certainly be welded whole again. It may never have the reliability that it once had. It may be that it may be forever more prone to fail, a risk in hand, and merely the perhaps foolish wielding of it. The newly crafted seams are rough and rigid, inflexible in a way, somehow in revolt or alien to its previous life. Repaired as it is in this new state, this inflexibility is one of the only qualities that may enable such matter to remain purposeful or useful at all. This newly acquired inflexibility, this unbending and rigid quality, is what allows for a new kind of life somehow, to something that once lay in pieces. And the strength of those new and ugly lines comes from within the steel itself, not from without. The ability to mend itself is omnipresent. The very nature of the material embodies it. And this new material need not know its own essence in order to fulfill it. The substance does not require comprehension, or a knowledge, or an understanding, or a concept of self, in order to display, to provide for, or acquiesce to its own nature. For that, it needs only fire. And so it is with pain. The Buddha says that all life is suffering. We exist in a quagmire of it, immersed in it, consumed by it. It is for us to recognize, to see, to feel our way out of it, to somehow pass beyond it, together. And our only task to ourselves is to loose ourselves of it, to ultimately be free of it, and all the while a part of it, all at once, it seems. And so the question of passing through that fire is an intimate affair of primacy for all of us eventually, no matter how far we try to run. And so, how to pass through without fear, without dishonesty, without imposing that which we march to escape upon others. while we struggle on ourselves. What should a simple primate do? In that fire and in that pain, something that was broken can be made whole again. It is made whole again. And perceptions are matters meager here. Paths once chosen and roads firmly laid are abandoned, scarred, overgrown, and left untended. New avenues, directions, possibilities are at hand, while old wounds, near misses, fear, and ghosts restrict still others. And so a path to prudence seems the unremarkable and reasonable trail to plod. Does fear rule there? Or rather, should it? Smashed, smote, sojourned, and yet reborn, born of fire, after near destruction. And so, fear what? An end? A failure? A mistake? Those things are everywhere, my friends. Indeed, such things are everything. For all of us. We are swimming all in the sea of its eternal and unyielding embrace. And the only answer that I have found here in the nearly half a century that I have been gifted or cursed this life is that it will never stop. It has no end. Relent. Our task is not to attempt to arrest it. Only madness lies in that shivering dark. Our role should be to find a way to navigate it in dignity, simplicity, and honesty. We should commit to the devotion of the journey itself, but more importantly, to each other while we make those attempts. Is it not? I've succeeded in my own ways, or not, because of my own weaknesses, my own failures. The present, as always, is simply the course of our mistakes that have brought us here, or to this waypoint, along this trace, and nothing more. My mistakes are what have taught me, destroyed me, rewarded me, and punished me. My errors have served to heal me, to hurt me. They have encouraged me and inspired me, but they have also crushed me and buried me. They have oftentimes hurried me, paralyzed me, pushed me, and pulled me. My missteps have formed me. They have reminded me. They have shattered me. And yet, they maintain me. That fire welds me together, whole again, free, again and again. I am not blessed with an abundance to surround myself with those who have shared this journey with me. Most of those who have helped to carry me this far have gone. Gone from the giving up, the giving out, or the giving in. But thankfully they are gone from the heartache and the lonesome. That part is still left for us to finish for them. And so, where should it begin? How to understand, to unravel, to see. Where does that kind of sojourn for all of us begin? With destruction, of course.